In the world of business building, we often wonder if it could get any more complicated. GRC, GDPR, ESG, zero carbon, green hydrogen, cybersecurity, and big data. Let's not forget the long funding processes that can make you crazy. If you are a world changing founder and innovator, how do you connect with the support that you need to move ahead? Well, this podcast puts the people, planet, profit through partnerships theory to action by helping you to see opportunities in every episode to create a meaningful partnership. The innovators, experts, and diplomats we interview are all looking for partners, and that could be you. No time like the present to find out. So, welcome to Frontrunners Innovate with your host, global business developer Mary Kurek. Hello, everyone. Today we have an extraordinary opportunity to speak with a businessman/diplomat. We'll see how the two worlds collaborate and where the opportunities could be for engaging with him in both areas. I'm Mary Kurek, president of Frontrunners Development, a global business development company that connects business impact partners. Today's guest is Mir Nasir Ali Khan, who is the honorary consul serving the Republic, the government of the Republic of Kazakhstan, managing director and promoter of MAK projects, and we want to put the parentheses around that, sustainable development projects, and climate action advocate, which we love, especially as we're moving into the climate season, as we call it, for all the COP and the other climate events that are going on soon. Our co-host today is Mohammad Abu Rashed, and he is the National Counselor, or Chancellor rather, for the UAE at the International Association of Education for World Peace. We'll find out more about that in just a second. So thank you, gentlemen, for being here. We appreciate you being on Frontrunners Innovate, and we're going to start with Rashed, and who is a good friend of ours now. We've been on several calls with him and learned a little bit about him, learning every time a little bit more. So, Rashed, introduce yourself properly, if you will, and a little bit about your background and what you're doing now with the organization that you serve.
I think Dr. Nasir, me and Mary, we have been a couple of events. This is possibly our third or fourth. We are doing it. So she knows me pretty well. So just a very short brief. What I do is basically I have a charter for an UN NGO, and I serve as a national chancellor for the IWP. Is an international NGO for reconciliation of peace and bring forth capacity building to different stakeholders so that everyone involved in the same program understands the expectation from either from the donor side or the project affected people or from the government side. So our role is to reconcile and do capacity building among different stakeholders. This is an NGO created by United Nations, and I am the National Chancellor for UAE. So this is one of my hats, which I started 2 years back. I got this role around 2 years back. Before that, or parallel, I have some same role that you have, not an honorary consul for sure. I was with the government. I was with the Bangladesh government, with the Afghanistan government, and a few other governments as a advisor to the office of the president, the office of the prime minister. Like I was this PP advisor to the office of the honorable prime minister in Bangladesh. I was PP advisor to the honorable president of Afghanistan's, and few more. I worked in India. Actually, I still have been working in India. I worked at approximately 16, 17 countries. My specialization is public-private partnership. So this is my second hat, right? Apart from me being involved in an NGO, I have a third hat, is a small hat. Is I have business interest. I am involved in business of my family and myself, more in a real estate. I have gone through MAK, not that level, but still I survived. I think our business is in Malaysia, in Thailand, in Bangladesh, in the real estate, and in UAE. So yeah, so this is basically the the business side. Earlier, I was my whole background is predominantly by the World Bank. So I was last in the project manager for IFC. I was leading the transaction advisory, or rightly said, I was creating the transaction advisory momentum for IFC. You know, the IFC has both the arms, right? It has an advisory arms and it also has a lending arm. So I was working on the advisory arm to create transaction advisory opportunities for Bangladesh. So I was the project manager there, IFC. Then from the World Bank, I worked in different other places, including Bangladesh and including Afghanistan. So I'm a consultant slash advisor. I am a peacekeeper, and I make some little bit of money through some investment. We have interest in Africa, and thanks to Mary, she has been a great help in our mining businesses and opportunities that we have been trying to do in Mali. Me and my assets, we have lithium business and we have gold business. So this is a very short brief. Did I miss, Mary, anything?
I think
I
you
think
covered almost all of it. And then
right.
some. That was
Yeah.
perfect. That was perfect.
And I think Mary, I think today, Mr. Nasir, will be. I have a lot of questions actually. I have, my page is quite full, 2 pages of questions for you, right?
Already, and we haven't even started. This is great.
We haven't started, right? So I'm really excited.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm really excited, Mr. Khan, to know about you, your roles in government, in both in India and Kazakhstan, and your real estate opportunities. I particularly very much interested when you said sustainable real estate. This is something, interestingly, I have been working in UAE with few of the developers. Yesterday was a particular day when I was working with Al Futtam for a sustainable real estate. I was in a long discussion with the senior leaderships on how to build sustainable development in real estate in UAE. Yep. So over to you, Mary.
He's got his answers right here. You're looking at it. Isn't that right, Dr. Khan? So let's go to our interviewee and let's find out a little bit about you, Dr. Khan. If you will share a little bit about your background, then bring us up to speed with what you're doing as the Honorary Consul, and then we'll move on from there to a little bit more about the business side of the house.
Thank you so much. Good morning to Mary in the United States, and good evening to Mohammad Rashed in Dubai. And thank you so much for inviting me on the show. I'm honored to be a part of the show, and I would like to briefly tell about my assignment as a Consul General. I was appointed the Consul of Kazakhstan by the government of Kazakhstan, and it was approved by the President of India. So it's a bilateral appointment between government of Kazakhstan and government of India. My assignment, my job is to multiple areas. One is to bilateral between India and Kazakhstan to improve the bilateral relationship between the two governments, and the other thing is to bring investment into Kazakhstan. And in that thing, I help companies to invest in Kazakhstan. That's one part of the job. The other one is basically import export. And Kazakhstan is a very big country. It's the ninth largest country in the world. We border Russia and China. We are very strategically located, I can say. We are next to two big powers. So geographically also, it's a very important location. So we have a lot of interest globally from a lot of countries. And the largest investment, the biggest investor in Kazakhstan is the United States of America, then followed by China. And I know we have since it's a Turkey country, a lot of interest from Turkey. Now we are trying to promote Indian companies. We already have a couple of them, about 4 of them. 3 of them are Indian, but the companies are registered in the United Kingdom. They're based out of UK. One is ArcelorMittal, which is into mining. Then we have another company, Vedanta, which is called Sterlite. They are also into mining. They're getting into investing in Kazakhstan. And the third company is satellite. It's called OneWeb. They do satellite internet connection and other satellite things. They're based out of UK. It's called OneWeb. They have 35 satellites, and we're working with them. And there is one Indian company which is based out of India. It's called Adani. They're into ports, power, and airports. So we're working with them to invest in Kazakhstan. So these are the companies who are. So I'm not restricted to bringing in investment into Kazakhstan from India. So I also work with any company or anybody who's interested in investing in Kazakhstan from any part of the world. And similarly, if it's an export import between Kazakhstan, any country, it can be Middle East, it can be North America, it can be any country. I'll be happy to assist and support. That part of my assignment. And coming back to my business, actually we've been in construction real estate for about more than 25 years. We were mostly into building integrated township, integrating housing with sports and entertainment. We integrate our housing project with sports facility. Like we have a gated community in India, in Hyderabad, which is about 300 acres. We are planning to build about 1,000 units. We have already built 300. We have a golf course, a cricket ground, because India, we are a cricket playing country, so cricket is a popular sport. Apart from that, we have a golf course, and we have swimming pool, tennis courts, uh, shuttle courts. These are the sports facility, and we also have a salon. We have a spa. We also have a theater. So this is we integrate housing with sports and recreation, and we want to decongest the city and have something like walk to sports entertainment. We also want to do some office space so you can also walk to work. That's uh, the area we're working in, and we are mostly into low rise, low density, and luxury housing. And it's my project is sustainable. The regular project, what we do is sustainable. We are a zero discharge project. We have a treatment plant to treat our waste. We reuse the water 100%. We also reuse our solid waste for gardening purposes. We have solar power. We have our own water supply. So we are a sustainable community. And recently we have tied up with a organization called FII. In India, it's called Canadian Wood. So it's a crown agency of government of British Columbia and Canada. We work with them to build carbon negative homes. This is a little different from green homes. Green housing is basically sustainable, but carbon negative is a new thing. We make houses out of wood. We import wood from Canada. They give us the material, manpower, and technology. And the reason why we import from Canada is the Canadian forests are sustainable, and when they cut one tree, they plant three, so they do reforestation. Because of that, the forest cover has gone up by 10% in the last 10 years. So that's the reason we import, because they're legal, sustainable, and reliable forest. And we have done a project in India right now. We've finished the project. It's a pilot project, and it's got good response in India. And we are looking at doing similar projects in the Middle East and also in Central Asia. But I am open to working with any company, any organization, any individual who's interested in building sustainable carbon negative homes. It can be any country, it can be any organization. And we are looking for partners. In the sense, partners, we will bring in the technology, manpower, and material and build. And we need somebody like a client. I'm talking to a couple of companies in Saudi Arabia and also in Dubai to build something in that country, because we will be the first, because mostly in Dubai they have steel and glass buildings and concrete buildings. So there are not many buildings which are carbon negative in that part of the world. So we will be the first. And in this area, we are into housing, but I am open to building schools. I'm open to building clinics, hospitals, holiday resorts. So we can build anything which can be built in concrete and wood. And wood is biophilic. It has no. It's good for learning. If you build a school, it's good for learning, and it's good for health. It's natural product. So the learning process is better. The healing is better. If it's in a hospital, learning better. If it's a school. So we are looking at all the areas. We can also do restaurants. We can do office buildings. Actually, in North America, there are a couple of organizations who are working with the BCFII. BC is British Columbia and Canada. One of them is Google. Google is building their corporate headquarters in North America with wood from Canada. One more company which is working on is Walmart in Arkansas. They are also building a huge campus with wood from Canada. That's going to be the largest campus in North America, made out of sustainable wood. And Microsoft is one more company. I'm naming these companies because these are big leaders and world leaders. They're known all over the world. They're first movers, and they're very responsible companies. So these are the first movers in that part of the world. In India, we are the first movers. So We have the first mover advantage that we are the only one. But at the same time, there is lack of awareness about these things in Asia. Asia, when I say Asia, India, and even the Middle East, we have to need to educate the government. We need to educate the media. We are working with both the media and government in India to educate the people. Recently, we had a first green building Indian Green Building Congress property show in Hyderabad, the first of its kind. So we allowed display or of only green buildings. So anybody who wanted to be a part of that show had to be a green building. So it was a very successful and show, and there was a lot of awareness and a lot of people attended it. And I'm also talking to government to give us some concessions, because in India we have concession for electric vehicle. If you buy a EV vehicle, you have a road tax holiday, you have a toll tax holiday. So we are asking for some concession. We have taxes from state government and also from the central government. From the state government, we have the building tax. See, when you have a building, you pay the municipal building tax, and you register the property, you pay a registration cost. I'm asking for some concession from the state government, which they're willing to give. And also, I'm talking to Government of India to give concession on GST, goods and service tax. I'm not asking for 100% reduction, but I'm asking for some concession. And I think they should be able to help us with that.
Good.
That's where I'm working. And one more thing about wood is, wood is the only natural material which can regrow. So it is renewable. Unlike other natural materials, renewable. So you can replant trees and grow new trees. And when we work with Canada, they only cut trees which are more than 100 years. And Canada has 10% of world forests is in Canada, and more than 90% of Canadian forests are publicly owned. And we are allowed to only cut 1% of commercial forest per year. That's the restriction. So it's very, very closely monitored, and Canada is a very law-abiding. I mean, the people are very conscious about all these things. That's the reason why we work with Canada, and
Yeah.
they have one of the best woods quality of wood available in the world.
Yes, we will. I know you've shared some information with me and some videos, and if you allow me to do that, we can share that with this interview so that people can have a visual of that. I want to go to Rashad because I know you said you had some questions. Go ahead. This is your opportunity.
Dr. Khan, I'm trying to understand a bit more about your diplomatic role. So are you an Kazakh national or you're an Indian national?
Basically, my family is originally from Central Asia, where India was ruled by for a long period of time by Central Asian rulers. I belong to that family from Central Asia. Basically, we are from Uzbekistan. My family is from a place called Bukhara in Uzbekistan. So India was ruled by Uzbeks. The Mughal Empire, which is called, and the Nizam of Hyderabad, we are all Uzbek. So my background. But I was born and brought up in India. I'm an Indian citizen. But this appointment is a bilateral appointment. I am appointed by the government of Kazakhstan, the foreign ministry, and it has to be approved by government of India. So it's a bilateral. I'm an Indian citizen, but I'm a consul of Kazakhstan in India. And there's a rule that if you have to represent in India, Kazakhstan in India as a consul, honorary consul, you need to be an Indian citizen by law.
So as a diplomat, what is your role? Do you promote investment in Kazakhstan or you promote investment in India?
So I promote investment in Kazakhstan. That's one thing. But when it comes to business as such, I also promote Kazakh import into India, in export from India to Kazakhstan. Actually, the import from Kazakhstan to India is almost $2.3 billion, because we import oil and we also import uranium. Kazakhstan is the largest producer of uranium in the world, and we produce almost 46% of world uranium, which is nuclear fuel for. But our export is only for civil nuclear purpose. So we supply to nuclear plants, power plants. So we are an exporter of major exporter to India. So the total volume of business what we do in India is $2.3 billion import into India, and the export from India is only $300 million. Very low, because we export very limited material. We mostly it's pharma and IT. But I'm working towards bridging that gap. So I want to make sure that the export import, at least if they don't match 100%, but the gap should narrow down. That's my interest right now. I'm working on it, and we have recently tied up with. We have a startup hub in Hyderabad. It's called T Hub. Because our state is called Telangana, so we have had a joint venture with T Hub with Astana Hub. Astana Hub has some very, very, very fine infrastructure. And India, we have a lot of manpower. We have IT people. I know India. India has good IT manpower because that's the reason we're trying to help them startups in Kazakhstan. So that's one area we're working. And this I have received a request from Kazakhstan to promote tourism. That's one important thing. They want to promote tourism. So in that area, we have removed visa for Indians to travel to Kazakhstan. So if you're an Indian citizen, if you have an Indian passport, you can travel to Kazakhstan without a visa. It's a visa free. It's not even on arrival. That's a visa free country for Indians. We have done that for GCC also now. We have done for other countries. So now the tourism has improved a lot. There are some challenges in tourism for us because we were a closed economy and there were not many tourists. Now, last year we had over 1 million tourists from Middle East and India. So the challenge for us was first was connectivity. We didn't have enough flights, direct flights. Now we have 2 flights from Delhi every day, and we are introducing a third flight from 23rd of September this month. And the other challenge is language. We are a Russian-speaking country, and we also speak the local language Kazakh. So we need to train our local people in English because India is an English-speaking country because we were ruled by British, so we are an English-speaking country. So that's area we're working on connectivity, we're working on language. Other things are fine, weather is good, food is good. It's a very safe country. Actually, Kazakhstan is one of the safest countries. They're not, the people are very honest. So from that point of thing, it's very safe to travel to Kazakhstan. Connectivity we will improve. Now we have a direct flight to Kazakhstan from Dubai, from Abu Dhabi, from Sharjah, and we every day, and we have 2 flights every day from Qatar. We have 1 flight from Oman, and we have from Saudi Arabia, and we are trying to improve from Qatar. So we are trying to work on this connectivity, and we also want to improve the infrastructure. Like when I mean the infrastructure, the airport infrastructure, because when you have a lot of tourists, you need a lot of hotels. So we are also working on that area. And Dubai is a great example because Dubai is a very small country with a limited resources, but it's amazing how they have really developed the tourism or the transit hub. So we'd like to make Kazakhstan, because of the location, we can be a transit hub where people can come to Kazakhstan and travel to United States, Europe, and countries like that. Because we're next to China, Russia, India. So a lot of Indians travel through Dubai. Actually, when I travel to Europe and United States, most of the time I travel through Middle East and mostly Dubai because Emirates is a great airline and an airport. And incidentally, I'm a permanent resident. I'm a golden visa holder, so that makes life easy. I don't need a visa for Dubai. So this is the area we're working in Kazakhstan, and we've been very successful. Actually, we are a very young country. We are just 30 years old, but what we've done in this 30 years, it's a great job. It's the infrastructure we build, the hotels, the roads, and our capital is the brand new, the latest or the brand new capital in the world. Our capital Astana was built from a scratch, so it's a brand new capital. So it's a great country, it's a safe country, and I would also like to invite all of you to Pakistan and be my
Rashed,
guest.
are you going over? Is that what you're thinking? You're planning a visit?
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited. Dr. Khan, can you give us a bit more? What I understand is there are opportunities you are the Kazakh government. I will come back to you about India because this is where my personal investment hat triggers, right? So this is my personal interest. But coming back to Kazakhstan, so I understand that the government is promoting tourism, but can you give us a bit more brief about the economy, your GDP growth rate, your FDI coming in, which countries are investing in Kazakhstan, overall infrastructure scenario, the private sector, especially in Kazakhstan, a bit brief of that, so that through this platform, more people, you will know that Mary's in this particular platform, huge subscriber there. There are a lot of people who actually listen to our interviews. This could be a very, very interesting platform for you to reach a broader circle whom you want to invite being to Kazakhstan in terms of investment. Can you give us a bit more brief, Mr. Khan?
One is in a hydrocarbon economy. We have oil and gas. That's our main business. I said a lot. We have a lot of minerals. We have uranium. We are the largest in the world, and
Mhm.
we are in a lot of other minerals and metals also. We have copper. We have iron ore. We also have coal. We have other minerals also. We also have gold. So we have minerals. So it's such a mineral and oil rich country, and it's a very large country actually. We share a border of 7,500 kilometers with Russia and 2,500 kilometers with China. So it's the longest border between 92 countries in the world is between Kazakhstan and China. That's the longest border. So we are a big country with a lot of land. We are getting a lot of investment from different countries. Like I said, US is the biggest investor because of oil. The most of the oil drilling and oil companies in Kazakhstan are from the United States. That's why they're the number one. Then, because of infrastructure, the longest belt road in the world is in Kazakhstan. It goes from China to Europe. So China is a big investor, and since we are a Turkic country, a lot of investment is coming in from Turkey. They are doing a lot of
Okay.
infrastructure work. And coming to Middle East. Middle East is investing, in Kazakhstan for food security. I think food hub, because recently we have seen investment from Middle East and from Qatar into some local Qatari company has invested into food like dairy products. So there's a lot of potential for meat and poultry and agriculture, because we have good weather for 6 months. You can grow a lot of fruits and vegetables in that part of the world.
Mm.
Meat and poultry is anything. And real estate is another investment where we're getting a lot of investment. Especially, we have a very good project which was completed in 2019 by a company
Mhm.
called Andhra Properties, which is based out of Abu Dhabi. They have a project called Abu Dhabi Plaza, which is very similar to what you have in Abu Dhabi. It's called Abu Dhabi Plaza. It's in our capital, and it has a shopping mall, a hotel, service apartments, and office tower. It's a very large. It's a $1.6 billion project. It was completed in 2019, and it's doing very well. So that's one area where we're getting investment into real estate. Earlier, real estate was only for the locals, so land was a state subject. Now we have opened up. We are allotting land to foreigners. Foreign companies can buy land, build housing, build
Okay.
hotels. So all that area we are getting a lot of. And Saudi is investing into non-conventional energy, because Kazakhstan right now most of our power is produced from coal, which is
Mm.
polluting industry. So now we want to shift to from coal to alternative energy like non-conventional, like solar, wind, and hydel. And so Saudi is doing a very large project in solar, and we are also talking to some other companies in Middle East, to Abu Dhabi, to do projects. So these are the areas where there's a lot of opportunity in. When you say infrastructure, we have opportunity into airports, water supply also. We are looking at improving our public water supply system. When I say water supply, the state is looking at improving the water supply roads. We have reasonably good infrastructure, but even the best can be made better. So we are working more to improve further. And we are a very large country with a very small population. Our population is only 20 million. That's it. The whole country has about 20 million
Okay.
people.
So does MAK have any strategic investment in Kazakhstan?
No, I don't work in Kazakhstan as business. I represent them as as a diplomat. So I bring in a lot of other companies, but I have interest. I'm looking at doing a housing project in Kazakhstan, in a city called Almaty. It will be again an integrated project which will do housing, integrate with sports, recreation, entertainment. But in this project, we also propose to do a hotel, a hospital, and a school, which will be done by a specialized company. We will be the promoter, but the hospital will be run by a professional hospital company. The school will be run by a professional school education group, and also the hotel by it's any good hotel brand. So we will be starting. I've identified the land. This is in a place called Almaty. It's about on the road from China to Europe. It's 300 kilometers from China. It's in a city called Almaty. So that project, and what we are planning to do with that project is we are trying to promote that project as a second home, or like you have the second home in Malaysia, or you have this property investment in Dubai, where you get a long-term stay visa, like a golden visa. We're trying to
Golden
do
visa.
that. So we would like to promote that project locally also, and also in other countries, in India, in Middle East, and anywhere in the world. If people want to, come, because Middle East is very hot in summer, and we have a very good weather in summer. Our maximum temperature is 29. So it's a real good weather in summer. So they can go and stay in summer and spend time. So that's the concept. We plan to build a housing project focusing on foreign investment. We plan to build about similar to what we did in India, about 1,000 units, and try to sell it in foreign countries to foreigners, so we can attract a lot of foreign investment into Kazakhstan.
Excellent. Excellent. So, Mary, I have a few more questions. Do you want to chip in?
Yeah, I was taking notes because I have somebody I want to introduce him to after he was talking about that big development he was just mentioning. You go ahead because I know you had a bunch of questions. So
I have many questions. Mr. Khan, I assume you are from Hyderabad. Am I correct? Your background, because I was looking at MAK, and you had another company before. You were working in Rushna Infrastructure. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yes.
So these are all based in Hyderabad. You are in real estate, and so is this any particular reason you have not reached out to Mumbai? You have not reached out to Delhi? You or in Hyderabad, what is the core values, or what are the core features that you think Hyderabad is a better destination in terms of real estate than maybe Delhi, maybe Mumbai?
The Hyderabad market is a very stable market. Real estate is doing well. It's going very steady. But that's not the reason why I'm only in Hyderabad, because my family owns a lot of land, used to own a lot of land in Hyderabad. So I had the land available. That's the reason I wanted to develop the lands we own. So we started with developing our own lands. I got into real estate because of my family background, because we had a lot of real estate of our own. We used to own, my father was a very big landowner, one of the biggest in this part of the world, in India. So we started developing. So we built everything. We just didn't build the housing. I built a hotel. I built a shopping mall, IT park. We were one of the first to build an IT park in Hyderabad. This was about 2000, about 20 years ago. We built the first IT park. Then we built a hotel, which is called the Park Hotel, which is a luxury 5-star hotel. We built a shopping mall. And now Hyderabad is booming because we are an IT service industry. Then we have the second largest Microsoft development facility in the world in Hyderabad. After United States, then we have a very large Google office. We have Facebook. We have Deloitte. We have Accenture. We have all the top American companies, and the biggest Amazon serve center in the world is in Hyderabad. It's bigger than what they have in the United States. So Hyderabad is IT, service industry. We don't have so much of manufacturing in Hyderabad. We have a lot of service industry. So most of our clients are people who are IT background and who work in this company. And also in India, we are not allowed to sell to foreigners, but I can always sell it to a person who's of Indian origin. So even if it's a citizen of United States, or even if it's a citizen of any country, if his parents are Indian or his grandparents are Indian, he's still eligible to buy in India. So, like Microsoft chairman is an American citizen, but he's from my city, Hyderabad. Yeah. So, Satyanarayana, people like that buy, they invest, not him personally, but people like that buy a lot of real estate. Because we have a lot of Indians globally who are very successful, especially in IT industry in North America and Europe. And a lot of people in the Middle East who are successful in other areas like, retail, and they're very big in hospitals also. A lot of Indian doctors working in different parts of the world. And I was told 35% of doctors in the United States are of Indian origin. So it's a big number. Yeah. And we have a lot of Indian IT people working in United States, especially from my state. I come from the Telugu speaking state, which is called Telangana. We have a lot of people working in especially the west coast of America. I was told Microsoft employs about 10,000 people from my city, my state. That's the number. I'm talking about just one company. There are many companies who employ people of that same number. So a huge number of Indians working in Middle East and also in Europe and America, who are our customers for our housing.
Yeah.
So
That's the
it's
Hyderabad.
not.
The reason because I have land, and Delhi is a good market, Mumbai is a good market. But in India, what happens? The local players are very strong. See, I'm strong in Hyderabad. I'm rated as a very big player, a number one player. Similarly, there's DLF in Delhi, there is Raheja in Mumbai, there is Prestige in Bangalore. These are large, big players and very strong in their own cities. So when they came and tried to do something, they could do it, but they were not as successful as the local developers. Actually, Emaar is a very big brand from the Middle East, which is a great company, built a lot of things. In
Imran
Hyderabad,
Shobha.
yeah, but they've done a good project. But somehow, being a foreign company, being a new player here, I think we have I can't say we're a bigger brand, better brand. They're a very, very big company compared to us. But I think we were more successful in the Hyderabad market compared to foreign players.
In Hyderabad, the concept of smart cities, right? So smart city has been evolved in India significantly over the last couple of years, right? So how, in terms of demand for smart cities and the presence of smart cities in Hyderabad, so there's a reason I'm saying that there are a couple of investors who are very interested, and this brings to possibly the second point when you said the foreigners owning land is somehow regulated. So my then subsequent question would be, do you mean particularly agricultural land or the commercial land is okay? So, but let's go one by one. There are people who are very, very interested about Indian real estate. So Hyderabad as a destination hub for housing, be it in a smart city or regular modern housing facility. How interesting or how enabling the environment is in Hyderabad.
In Hyderabad, we have very good luxury projects, and we have Hyderabad is the most affordable city in India when compared to Mumbai and Delhi. Mumbai is a very expensive. Mumbai is as expensive as probably New York or Paris or London. Selling price of per square foot is about $1,000 a square foot, which is $10,000 a square meter. Those are very expensive cities. Hyderabad is relatively less expensive, and because of that, you still find people buying independent houses, villas. So that's why we do low rise, low density. Because in a city like New York or London or Mumbai, you can't do that because there's very little land, and land is very, very expensive. So you end up doing high rise. So we do a low rise, low density. So Hyderabad is a good place to do low rise, low density and integrate with all these projects. And when I say foreigners cannot buy foreign agriculture land, definitely nobody can buy. Foreigners cannot buy agricultural land. But all overseas corporate bodies, if you're a company, you can buy. See, Microsoft can buy. Bill Gates might not be buying here, but his company, Microsoft, owns a lot of property in India. Their offices are owned by them. Google owns. So corporate bodies can buy, companies can buy. So there is a restriction on a foreigner buying, but the other way is, you can buy as a corporate, overseas corporate body. And as far as if you're an Indian by Indian citizen, a person of Indian origin, then you have no problem. Even if you've been, even if your parents were born, like Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister of UK, he was born in London. His parents were born in Africa. His grandparents migrated for India. So, but he's still eligible. If he wants to buy, I'm sure he'll be allowed to buy. There's no restriction on people of Indian origin buying. Or the Vice President of United States of America, she also has connection with India. Her grandfather used to be an Indian. Her mother was born in India.
So
So
the invitations are well forwarded to appropriate places. Now, if there are actually couple of investors, I mean, I think Mary, possibly you have to when you podcast this, you will have more. You have to more leverage into keep which part you want to keep in this particular conversation. But there are large investors who are very, very interested about housing in India. Okay, and interestingly, Mr. Khan, I was in another group, I think day before yesterday. They are from Delhi. I have been seeing a lot of momentum these days, especially in the Middle East, that land bank owners from different states are coming to Middle East and other places to bring the opportunities they have and targeting the NRIs, right? So I was speaking to the other group, excuse me. I was speaking to some I was speaking to one of this group called Ram Ratan Group. I
Yeah,
think only yesterday.
I know them. I
The
know
chairman,
them. They're into,
yes,
yeah, they're very.
the chairman is a big friend, is a good friend. He came. He has been coming to the UAE and other countries, and especially the Middle East, and trying to promote the land bank,
Yes,
right, across the different development that is happening, be it in the metro, be it in the highways. So they have a huge land bank, mostly from family, first generation, second like you, and they are promoting these investment opportunities, particularly for NRIs. And I've been seeing a lot of. Actually, I was having lunch with Mr. Vijay
I
2 days
know.
back.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure I will
They
pass
told
this
me.
interview to Mr. Vijay as well. So, so this is a momentum we have been seeing that not NRIs being targeted or being discussed so that they can bring some of their investment back to, and they are interesting. They're saying that consider this as a second home. You are in London, you are in US, but your origin is India. So consider US, India as your second home. Being by a villa, by a project, by a particular property. So this is an interesting momentum. I've been seeing this. Okay. Um,
I want
I
to clarify, add on to what you're saying. See, actually, there was a lot of people going from India to foreign countries at one point of time because there was a lot of opportunity. Now India is, there's a lot of opportunity in India. India is doing very well. Indian economy is doing extremely well because of the size of the population, growing middle class. So a lot of people are coming back to India. People who had gone, non-resident Indians who had gone from India, they've done very well. They want to come back to India. So what I want to talk about what you're saying. So these people who invest in India, and there are a lot of investment, a lot of inquiries we get from people who want to move back to India or have a second home, not like live in both the countries. And since they're Indian, they
true.
have a family here. See, even if they move there, they have parents, or some people have grandparents, some people have cousins and aunts. So they have a lot of connect with India. They're not totally disconnected. So even when they go there, they come very often because of their family connection. So like the group you were talking about, they're doing a farm housing project, and they're very successful. They've been doing this for
Right.
last, and they are focusing more on Middle East. Yeah. And coming back to foreign investors, see, companies can invest in India. Like you said, I had a joint venture with a company called Sunway. It's a Malaysian company. It's a Chinese Malaysian company. They're a very large company. They have projects in China and they have project in Singapore. So they have invested with us. We had a joint venture. I own the land, and we joint ventured with them to develop a apartment project. So foreign companies can invest. There's no restriction on companies' investment. Individuals, there is a restriction if you're a foreigner, but if you're a company, there is absolutely no restriction. Any foreign company can invest in it. So foreign direct investment is allowed in India. Yeah.
So I
And
have
India,
possibly one of my last questions to you, Mr. Khan. You mentioned that you have approached the government for some level of concession for your sustainable real estate development. So can you explain a bit more what sort of concession you are expecting? Has there been any commitment from the government of Hyderabad and Telangana province? Or, I mean, see, at the end of the day, when you are talking sustainable has two particular component in terms of costing, right? So in UAE yesterday I was discussing with Al Futam. You know Al Futam, right? Hilal Gulf, the whole Mall of Emirates and Al Futam. I was discussing with them, and they have a vision of, because they do large housing projects, right? So what they are planning to do is bringing the whole concept of sustainable as part of their development plan. So, but it has also its own cost. So whether you suggest that the sustainability should be part of the capital expenditure and no significant operational expenses, or people should have a choice that instead of putting in a capital expenditure, capex, they prefer on an opex side, right? Operational expenditure. So I have two questions to you. One, what sort of discussion you are having with the Telangana government for the concession for sustainable? And if it is sustainable, what sort of suggestion you have that in terms of what is the sustainability key feature should be put forward in a housing project?
yeah, I'll explain. It comes. See, why is government interested in sustainability? Because all these governments are a signatory to a Paris Accord, where they have to be carbon neutral by a certain period of time. India has to be carbon neutral. We have time till 2070. Middle East has to be carbon neutral by 2050. Kazakhstan is 2060. So different countries have taken different times. So to get to that level, so you have to have non-polluting industry. So generally, what there is pollution in manufacturing industry, there is pollution in automobile industry, there's a lot of pollution in housing industry. So the government has to achieve that net zero, which Dubai is very aggressively working because of COP28, which you have
Sure.
in Nawab, one of the large UN program. So government also has a responsibility. They are a signatory to the Paris Accord. They have to be carbon neutral by net zero by 2050, 60, or 70, depends on the country. So they
Sure.
have to promote industries which are carbon neutral or carbon negative. So actually, there is a lot of pollution in manufacturing, pollution in automobile, and there's pollution in building industry. Government is already giving concessions to automobile, like I told, electric car. We have a concession on road tax. We have a concession on toll tax and all that. Similar concession is also available to manufacturing, power plants, and the one more reason is the financial institutes are not willing or not interested in funding polluting industries now. They are withdrawing, not just not investing, they are withdrawing their funds from a polluting industry to invest in a sustainable, non-polluting industry. So construction has a lot of pollution. Real estate wise, as such, building industry, I will not say real estate, building is because steel, cement goes into construction, and cement is a very highly polluting during manufacturing. Steel also has a lot of pollution when you manufacture, and when you do construction also, normal steel, sands, steel and cement, and it's a polluting industry. The pollution is almost 22%, which is quite high. Carbon emission is very high. So when we build our buildings, which we build out of wood, wood is biodegradable, recyclable, reusable, and carbon negative. And wood, like I said earlier, wood you can regrow trees, so that's renewable also. So now people are talking about renewable energy, renewable anything that's renewable is fine. So wood is a renewable product. So I told the government that since I'm doing carbon negative, which I'm helping the government as getting to their goal of carbon negative. So we have two governments in India. We have a system is federal government, then we have a state government. So land is a state subject, and government of India has a different tax. So the income tax or the goods and services tax is government of India. The property tax, the registration, when we register property, or building tax, when you build a building and pay we call it municipal tax, which you also have in the United States, which is state government. So I am asking the state government to give some concessions on municipal tax and registration, which is a state government subject, which government is, our minister is Mr. K.T. Ramarao, a very, very young, dynamic minister. I happen to know him personally, so he's very positive about it. Then I also happened to speak to the government of India, and I also had an opportunity to speak to the finance minister. I explained to her about carbon negative. She's a very intelligent person, minister. She understood the thing, and she said, "Yeah, you have a representation, not from a company, but from we have a organization like we have CREDI, Confederation of Real Estate Developers of India. So all the developers together we form an association." So he said, let it come from the association as a request, then we will consider. So we are working towards it, and our Prime Minister is very, very conscious and very particular that we have to promote non-conventional, carbon negative. So that's the reason. And sustainability is not, according to me, is not a choice anymore. It's a necessity. We need to give a better world to the next generation. Honestly, we cannot consume everything. We cannot, resources. Money belongs to us, but the resources don't. I tell everybody. So you have to be more conscious. You cannot consume everything and leave nothing for the next generation. We need to give a better world. So that is the reason. It's not just because I want, or just because it is the interest of the government. It's not just my interest. It is interest of the government. It is interest of giving a better world to the next generation. It's my interest also as a businessman. But actually, more than that, sustainability is my passion. Actually, as a family, my elder son works with Government of Canada, British Columbia, to do sustainable wood housing. My younger son is based in Canada. He's working on carbon exchange. So he would like to trade
Carbon trading.
carbon credits. Yeah, he's planning carbon exchange. We don't have a carbon exchange in India and we don't have in Dubai. So his interest is to set up in other countries also. They have in North America, they have in Europe. So now I think it's coming up in Dubai, was told. So he wants to set up a carbon exchange in different parts of the world and do trading. So that's as a family, we are very conscious about environment. So as a family, we work. To answer your question, so I have spoken to both the state and central government, very positive, because it's their responsibility also. It's not just the responsibility of the businessman or developer. It's everybody's responsibility. It's not just government. It's not just people. Not just every single individual is responsible. See, I know a lot of people who don't use single-use plastic. I know a lot of people who don't use anything that's not biodegradable as a choice, not as a rule. There are people who are highly responsible who don't want to pollute the
Environment.
world. And you know what is happening because of this climate change and global warming. There are floods happening in so many countries. That there are forest fires happening in this. It's very dangerous. There were floods in Canada. There were floods in Europe. There were forest fire and recently in United States, in California, and there was forest fire in Hawaii. There was a flooding in Europe. The forest fire in Turkey. And these are all problems, and we have to focus on them. And wood, one more big thing about wood is when I'm talking about Turkey and Syria, wood is very good with earthquakes because it's a very light material. It's only 20% of the weight of concrete. So wood is very, very good with earthquakes. That's why you find a lot of wood housing in California, because it's a seismic zone. There's a very high chances of earthquake, and then also in Japan. So you find a lot of buildings in Japan, and the life of wood building is much longer than concrete. Concrete building generally lasts 100 years because concrete is a very recent invention. It's been 100 years, but before concrete was invented, most of the buildings were made out of wood because wood has been used for thousands of years. The oldest building on this earth is in Japan. It's a temple of 4 floors. It's a wood building. It was built some 1500 years ago. And we have a palace in India which was built about 500 years ago. It's called Padmanabha Palace in Tamil Nadu. It's completely made out of wood and it's in good shape. So wood can last more than 500 years. Definitely last more than, because this I'm talking about this because people ask what is the life of wood. The life of wood is definitely more than concrete for sure.
Yeah. Tokyo Metro Station. Tokyo Metro Station actually was built on pine woods.
Yes.
About that.
And is there.
Yeah.
I'll be very, I think, just to give you a very short why I have asked so many questions to you about this. I work for a very large infrastructure advisory firm in India, Nangi Anderson, and I think you have heard of that.
Yeah.
One of the largest and with the most reputed advisory firm. So we are working with few international investors from Malaysia, and also I work very closely with a few Japanese big companies who has shown very keen interest in housing projects in India. So this is where I see a lot of synergy and opportunities to work. Someone like you, take your inputs, your family background, your different hats that you wear. I see a lot of, Mary, I think there are a lot of things that we can do together. Sure. Going forward. And I would be very pleased to be connected to you and take this few of this discussion, few of the opportunity that you put forward to take this forward. Mary, over to you.
Perfect. That's what we do. That's exactly what we do. This is great. This has been very informative. And Dr. Khan, I feel like with you, the same as I do with Rashed, every time I have a conversation with you, I learn more. I've made some notes. So there will be more conversations, but I think let's stop this here for the podcast, and I will get back to both of you and we will schedule something else. But if you'll stay with me, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone else. And if you're watching this or listening to it anywhere else you get your podcast, go to www.frontrunnersinnovate.com where you'll get this interview, but you'll also get biomaterial and the way to contact these two gentlemen and some information that's been provided to us along with some visuals, some video that Dr. Khan has provided to us that you will be able to see some of the structures and the wood that he's been talking about from Canada. And I think that you'll be really impressed because I was. with some of the development work that he's done. So thank you, Rashed. Always a pleasure. And Dr. Khan, we'll be talking to both of you again soon.